to Diving In with Dionne. And for those who don't know, you're wondering, who is Dionne? Dionne is me. That's Tasha. What we're going to be doing on Saturdays is having candid conversations with some of my closest friends or family. And sometimes it'll just be me. What we want to do is open up and talk about subjects that may be a little touchy at times. So today, what we want to know is, what is living your best life? What does it look like for you? We're all familiar with Lil Duval. Living my best life. I ain't going back and forth with you. Living my best life. But what is that for you? Because it's different for every person. To my right, I have Miss Patty Jimenez, transplant to Atlanta from Chicago, community organizer with Corey Foundation, and also did nonprofit work in Wyoming, Texas, and the Illinois area. And to my left, I have Bryson Scott. Here we have a best-selling author. We have a motivational speaker, and both of these are my co-workers turned friends.
Pro-workers.
So let's go ahead, y'all. We're going to dive in. And Patty, I'm going to give you a minute to speak because I see you enjoying that wine. But what do you think living your best life is?
Living my best life would definitely be being able to provide for my loved ones.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my dad is a huge person in my life, and he has given so much. He is actually originally from Mexico, right? And he migrated here to the U.S., has worked his ass off. And I would love to be able to provide him with whatever it is that he needs, pay off his house, you know, give him a set life, I guess I would say. And my family is very different. A lot of them are from Mexico. Mm-hmm. And what I notice is that a lot of times people have such a stigma of like, well, you know, they just come over here and they, you know, take from the community. They really don't. My family's hardworking. My family has provided back. And I would love to be able to just give them whatever they need. They're hardworking. Kids are going to college, engineer, nurse, doctor. I want to be able to give back. And to me, a best life would be to be able to go to work, live and go get a massage if I want. But be able to pay my dad's house off.
So what it sounds like to me, your best life is of giving to others. That's where you find your joy and happiness. But what does that mean for you? Do you feel selfish when you take time for yourself?
Absolutely not. I am all about giving myself my best life, but I find fulfillment from giving to others.
Okay.
So, and I think that that's why I want to be able to give to my family. I want to be able to give to people who have given to me. My best friends, I mean, I have girls who I went to high school with who I'm like, are doing great for themselves. But if I had more, I would want to make sure to include them, make sure to like, you know, match each other. Because we come from a city where it's a high population is Hispanic. And not always are they provided the opportunity to go forward and, I guess you would say, give back either, or actually know what it is to give back. And so having them just come with me and do community work would be a huge thing for me.
Mm-hmm. And what about you, Bryson? What does it look like for you?
For me, living my best life would actually be traveling. It would be teaching. It would be motivating others on a more global platform.
Okay.
Growing up in a household with my grandmother, who primarily raised me. My mom was there as well, so as well as my grandfather. But they had all together, it will be 8 kids. That includes adopted kids. Mm-hmm. And then I have my biological siblings, which all together is 8 of us.
Okay.
I've come to understand the responsibility of life, loving and taking care of others. And so I would also include taking care of my family, making sure that they're set. My grandmother's no longer here now, but my grandfather is still here. Of course, my parents, my mom and my dad are here, and my siblings are here. Although all of us aren't as close, still, you know, just making sure that they're set.
Got it. Yeah. So for you guys, it sounds like your best life is a reflection of what you can give back.
Yes.
Right.
To others around you.
Right, and that's such a common denominator. I feel like I love that piece of it. Like us being able, like that being our focus. that shows a lot, or that tells a lot about who we are, right?
Yeah.
We're family.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And to me, I don't know if it's a cultural thing. I don't know if it's an American thing. But to me, that shows a lot. Just making sure that we take care of our family. That's huge.
So what do you feel like someone who defines living their best life is solely their happiness and no one else's? Do you feel like it's selfish of them?
Not necessarily. I mean, I can't tell you who you are or how you want to be or what you've been through, right? I just know that for me, because my family has always been there for me. Like whenever I need something, it's just boom, send, let me talk to them really quick. Like I need help with this. Us being able to be here, my dad did a huge thing with everybody coming over from Mexico, on his side of the family. My great-grandparents coming over on my mom's side of the family. It's always been about family, about community, right? About food, all of that. So them being able to share with me and always wanting to share with me, that's a big part of who I am, which is probably why I move forward in that way.
Okay, so family is huge for you. Well, guys, for me, I'm going to sound a little more selfish, but living my best life is going to be focusing on me. And that's going to include my health, working to get weight off, because we all know, even though I'm still fine, I am getting a little older. And so there are consequences to having extra weight on you. Don't take it, I don't love me, all of me, but I'm just saying, be realistic.
It's not easy keeping this figure.
It ain't easy keeping this figure. So it's going to be a little more focused on me.
Right.
And being able to live through my godchild's graduation or weddings or whatever else. I want to focus more on career.
Okay.
And I am one of those people that believes that money does make you happy.
Yeah.
Because I don't see how genuinely joyful you can be when you're struggling to pay bills.
Agreed.
Do you feel like that's because of an American thing? Like, you know what I mean? Like, is that because we are in American culture and that's kind of how we live? Or is that more of, like, is that really what, you know what I'm saying? What you want?
I don't know what culture it is, but you can't be too happy with the lights cut off.
That's a real statement, though.
I don't care where you at, hon. You flip that thing, hon. Them lights ain't coming on. You ain't too happy. You ain't living your best life.
I'm not going to argue with that.
I'm just saying, but that's, for me, that's living the best life. But also taking that, I want to travel because I do appreciate cultures. I love the languages. And I love food, and I think that's how you bond with people.
I agree.
So,
yes.
Some people consider family. You guys say family, so I get joy from giving back. My mom, my cousins, or whatever else, but I don't necessarily need my own family.
Okay.
Or like my own children.
Okay,
I completely agree with that.
You know,
I've always said that. I'm like, for me, I love kids, but I love your kids. I don't want my own. And that sounds terrible.
No,
you know what I mean?
It ain't terrible.
But I'm okay with you, you know what I mean? I'm okay with just giving to yours.
Yeah.
And giving yours back. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I like that concept too. One thing I've been thinking about recently is adoption. I don't know.
I like that.
My grandmother, she was a foster mom. And so a lot of the kids that would come into the home, a lot of times they had so many different disabilities.
Okay.
There was one that she had, they were brother and sister, and the mom was on drugs at that particular time. As a result, they had developmental issues.
Okay.
And as I grew up, they became my brother and sister because, we're only for the male, he and I are 2 years apart. And then the youngest girl, she and I are 5 years apart. Okay. But to see them in that type of environment where they didn't have any other type of love, they didn't know what community was prior to coming to my grandmother, that's something that I would like to give to another child. And when I say that, I mean community, safety, love, things of that nature.
And see, for me, I believe that's a common denominator for all of us and everyone out there, is that love, no matter what form it is, maybe it's you and a parent, you and a partner, you and a child, you and a community, co-worker, whatever. Love is the common factor when it comes to living your best life.
Yes.
Because what is life without purpose?
Yes. We
as humans, we are meant to interact with one another. We are meant.
Huge believer in that.
Yes.
Because
yes.
some people, when they're like, oh, I'm just you know, I like to be by myself. I just want to be on my own. Yes.
That's not true, though.
I
That's
like
a protective
that.
mechanism.
And
I
I
don't
can
believe
see that. And I can see and I can see that to an extent, but we are creatures who deserve to be around each other.
I agree.
Who deserve to be loved. And I like when we say that, like a defense mechanism. You know what I mean? Like, because I've never, to me, I'm grateful that I've never had to actually like live where I say like, I need to be by myself. I'm reclusive like that. You know what I'm saying?
But some people, sorry, Pat, I don't mean to cut you off, but for some people, it is they need to be by themselves because they never had a chance to be alone for their own thought process. So I can still see it.
I never thought about that.
Yeah, because like you think about like this, you from childhood, if you had many siblings, you were the younger one, or well, say for example, you were the older one. A lot of times, if both parents are at work, and if you're fortunate to have both parents, who's there taking care or helping with parently duties? It's the one in line. So then you take on that role as being a parent.
Yeah.
As well. So then you need that time to decompress, whatever. Even for me, like when I worked the second job, I needed alone time because I had people always surrounding me at my primary job. I had people when I got off, when I went to my second job, always surrounding me. I had people on the weekends. I didn't have time for myself.
But there's a difference. There's a difference between let me have some time for myself to saying I need to be by myself. You know what I mean?
I agree with that.
Because I'm the first one to tell you, let me go home. Don't talk to me for the first 2 hours.
Oh, she's so mean.
You know?
No, but I'm the same way.
I'm on the phone with you. I'm on the phone with you 24/7.
It's the same people you're working with, girl.
half the time I'm like, man, I'm just exhausted from having a conversation, right? I want to go home and I just want to decompress. Don't talk to me. If you need something, point at it because I'm not trying to hear anything else.
Right.
So, but that's different from saying like I'm alone. I need to be by myself. You know, because I mean, I for me, people need to feel companionship.
They do.
I agree.
You know,
It feels good, and it feels good to feel wanted.
It does.
Or to have good conversation. You know
It
what I'm
does.
saying? Like, if you're by yourself half the time, when you come out into the world, it's almost like you feel drained when there's too many people around. You feel drained when there's nobody around. You know what I mean? Like, you need that social.
So
That social, piece in your life.
So are we gonna say that part of living your best life is having love?
Yes, that's a major component.
All right, so that's gonna be a check mark. And we also said that living your best life also consists of being able to have time alone to decompress, but not confusing the two with a moment to be alone and needing to unwind and staying alone.
I don't know if that's necessarily my best life, but that's a piece of me, you know, in my everyday. My best life would be, yes, love and sharing love. And, you know, I think a lot of times there's so many dark things that happen in the world that people kind of, they dwell on that versus like the love that we have to experience. That's a huge part of everybody's life. And I think anybody's best life, you can see that. Even when people, let's say just an example like God, right? Somebody who has invested themselves in learning the Bible and going to church or, you know, and this can be controversial, I understand that, but who actually goes in and shows and lives by the foundation that God has provided, it's almost like you can see a glow from them, right? So to me, it's because it's that love. It's that what they feel for him, right?
Okay, now, well, this is my question.
Okay.
Is it that love for God? Don't get me wrong, you know, Allah, I believe. But, well, Jehovah, Allah, I don't know whatever you want to call him, but that's my thing. Like, so I feel like along with that comes an inner peace.
Explain.
Well, she says that a lot of darkness and turmoil in the world, and you know that we all internalize it, or it takes a heavy effect on you.
That's true.
And it will distort your view of things,
That's true.
which a lot of times will lead to downtroddenness and the inability to receive and express love. But I feel as if when you recognize or when you have achieved internal peace, that goes there.
Absolutely.
But I would also say that I would challenge that and say that internal peace also comes from community. So it is whomever you surround yourself with. Because if you're surrounded with people who are not like-minded, you're not going to have peace. And on the flip side,
So true.
if you're surrounded with people that, although they may have a similar mind, but they don't have the same priorities, you're still not going to be at peace. So I do believe that you need to surround yourself with people that are going to challenge you.
I love that. No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
So what we're gonna do, Bryce? We're gonna what?
We're gonna surround ourselves
Yes, we're going to surround ourselves.
with people who we can feed off of.
Yes. Well, no, I don't want to say feed off of, because that
Okay.
will make us seem like we're vultures or we're, leeches.
Okay.
But
Maybe
maybe
that's because I feed off of people.
Let's see.
Vulture.
But
I'm just waiting. I'm waiting.
well, this is what I feel right here. Is it's okay because again we are meant to interact with one another. We are humans. In the day we're animals. We're more like lions that need each other in a pride versus a solo animal. Whatever. Bryce, come on now. You're more house man. Give me a solo animal that lives alone and hunts alone.
Well, this is the thing though, because even when you look at the community or the classification of an animal, although that they may appear alone, they're still surrounded.
True story.
By what?
They're surrounded by their species. And even if you don't want to include their species, there's still some other type of animal, insect, whatever, that feeds into the chain of life. So nothing is ever really alone. Everything feeds into the process of the other.
But for me, I'm referring more to as in that pride, that small community, as in your local, and then your, come on, Pam, I'm lost for words right now.
I'm a lost too. I don't know what you're I don't know where you're going with
You're
it.
as far as like you're immediate right now. As far as depending on them, like, so you got your mom, your siblings, you have your grandparents, and then your local community. And then I forgot where I was about to go with this.
So, because I mean, if I have, when I surround myself with people who are like-minded, right? Okay, so I don't always necessarily need to be by myself, right? We've established that. But with people who are like-minded as me, it does, for me, like I mentioned earlier, I feed off of that. It gives me a little bit more to kind of be like, okay, you know what I mean? I understand where you're going with that. Like, I like that. We're feeling each other. But I also like people who are opposite of me. Because I need that opposing. I need that, well, you don't agree with me? Why? Push
Challenge.
me. Yes, that's what I enjoy.
Okay, I remember where I was about to go with the lion.
Okay.
With that pride or whatever. And I know you said that you feed off of people or whatever, but in that lion's den, each individual has its own purpose. Whether it's the females that are there to take care of the cubs and also hunt, the male to go and protect or whatever. And I'm trying to tie it back here because it's going in and out. But this is also my point, is that when it comes to feeding off people, that can be draining. Because I know it is for me when people feed off of me. Yeah. So a point where I want to make is that you have to be willing to replenish, and you need to have people that are going to replenish you as well.
Facts.
Or else you're not going to be any good for anyone. And so I'm guessing that what I'm trying to get to with this whole lion scenario is that the moms or the females bring them in, bring in the males, but you also have to protect yourself. And that's what the male lion does.
Right.
That's what Reiki's for, girl. That's what's for? Reiki. What's a Reiki?
Go ahead and explain it.
Come on, talk about that thing. What's a Reiki? I'm lost there.
Reiki is basically a type of massage, which you're not really being touched, so don't get disappointed. Basically.
Oh, now I just caught the shade. Patty, at it again.
When they come in and they realign your energy, kind of take away like that negative energy, you know what I mean? Come through your chakras and just kind of realign you so that you feel and remove that negative energy and just you feel that peace. And so a lot of times, because for me, that's, in particular, like I said, I feed off of people. I don't always want to, so I have to learn ways, whether it's like picturing like a mirror, flying back at yourself, like take your own back negativity. I don't want you to get negativity,
Right.
But I have to find ways to clean myself off, right?
Right.
And it's funny because for me, a lot of people are like, oh, well, you're Latina, so you do voodoo. No, I don't do voodoo. I don't.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, I'm the first one to do an egg cleansing. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to shower myself, wipe myself down and everything. On Fridays, every morning, I'm like, Padre nuestro que estás en el cielo, something. I'm doing my limpia and stuff.
Okay, hold on. For everybody who doesn't know, what is Olympia?
A limpia is basically like a cleansing.
Okay.
So
Like
what you do, kind of, sort of. I mean, a limpia is a cleansing, is what it's called. It's cleaning, right? So what you do is you're removing like all the toxic energy from your body, right? You take the egg. You make sure it's at room temperature, and you're like, you're saying a prayer, and you're trying to just wash yourself like you were taking a bath.
Okay.
Right? It's supposed to remove the negative energy. You can either just throw away the egg, or you can open it in a glass of water, and then there are different ways like that you can interpret it. So for people who don't know, you can go online, and they'll even tell you like, hey, you know, if you see spikes, it means this. If you see like a man, it means this. But for me, because energy is so heavy, like around people, sometimes I have to do that. You know what I mean? It's just a part of my life. Because for me, in order to live my best life, I have to feel light. I have to feel like, you know what I mean? People have the best intentions for me.
Well, girl, we're going to have to work on you removing some of those people who bring that heavy energy out of your life.
You're right. You're right.
So now this is one question too. Now, when you're working on living your best life, does it mean you live it consistently? Like you're always living your best life? Are you always happy and living in your purpose?
And I would have to say, because I'm one of those people who are, I call myself like a magical, you know, realistic. No. You know what I mean? People who are even just to say that I am always positive. No, I'm not always positive, but I learn how to deal with it, you know what I'm saying, in my everyday and still keep a positive attitude. Right. Plain and simple.
What about you, Bryce?
Well, I was actually going to say something similar to what she was saying.
Okay.
Life is a journey. So some days you're going to feel up to it. Other days you're not going to want to be bothered, or you might be frustrated, irritated, whatever. So you just got to roll the punches.
So does that mean that in that moment you have stopped living your best life, or you currently aren't?
No, that doesn't mean that you stop living your best life. That just means that you're having a moment, and it's okay to have that moment. Be in that moment for that moment so that you can move forward.
You have to. You have to have that. How are you supposed to bring an opposing light or really know what living my best life is if you haven't lived your worst life? You know what I'm saying? Does that make any sense to you?
I like that.
But this is my question here, because you know there's a proverb that says learning from your mistakes, or a wise man learns from his mistakes. A wiser man learns from the mistakes of others. So do you have to live your worst life necessarily to know what your best or a good life can reflect?
I think it depends on the person.
Agreed.
Some people learn by bumping their heads. Other people learn by taking the lessons that they've watched other people learn. It just depends on the person and the personality.
But it's cheaper to watch the other person.
It is.
But I am one of those who needs to learn for themselves.
Well, girl, you know they say down here, a hard head makes us all dance.
And I do love, you know what I'm saying?
Don't back that thing up over here. Don't back that thing up over here. All right, so I think we've done now is we've touched on a few topics or a few needs that need to be met for you to say that you're living your best life. Now, because I know I'm not at this moment. So for me, it can be a lack of consistency. Sometimes I have that fire, pew, 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 gotta get it done, then I'm fizzle out. Or whatever. For me, there's a self-doubt portion that can come along with it. There's a lack of communication. I always have a fear of hurting people's feelings. And then also there's a component of finances. So those are just a few things that are hindering me.
But can I be honest and challenge you and say that you still are living your best life, but you're figuring out the process as you're going through it?
You can. But my question to you is, what's hindering you and what are you doing to change it?
For me, I would say sometime overthinking.
I can testify. I died like 5 times on 85 because anxiety kicked in and I had already pictured what could have gone wrong.
Yeah, I would say sometimes it's overthinking. Sometimes thinking that something is going to be a certain way before it actually happens instead of allowing it to be. Being in the moment, that is something that I've gone back and forth with sometimes. Being in the present moment. Because sometimes for me, I want to plan everything out.
Now you heard some of our perspectives on living your best life. But most importantly, I want to sit here and say that your definition of living a best life is completely up to you. I know we get caught up a lot in the whole social media presence. A lot of people are only sending the pictures of vacations. They're sending the pictures of them with the newborn baby, the family, the college graduation. But you don't know those tears. You don't know the sweat. You don't know the broken bones. You don't know the hurt feelings from them to get from A to B. Right. So do not get frustrated. Do not compare your best life to someone else's. And remember, as long as you're breathing, you still have time to change. So I know I listed off some of my hindrances, but what I'm working for now is like when it comes to my career, is I enrolled back in school. Now it's hard because now I'm paying out of pocket. But, and I know being realistic, that's one of my challenges when it comes to climbing up the ladder is that they're going to want higher education. They're going to want better grades. Yes. For me, I think I'm funny.
You are.
Might be hilarious. Funny is just an understatement, baby. But I'm working on putting myself out there. So that's one thing that you have to do. You have to be willing to go past vulnerabilities. You have to be willing to step outside the box. So signing up for the open mic nights and comedy shows, working on a YouTube channel. Y'all make sure you follow Diving In with Dionne, become a diver. But no, these are things I'm working on internally. And again, ultimately, I feel that you have to start from within, and then what you have to offer will increase, and then it will exert itself, or then it will flow outward. So what do you guys think?
I agree with you. I mean, absolutely. Everybody has a different definition of what your best life is. It's nothing less, nothing more than what I have to offer, than what anybody else has to offer. It's hard. It's really hard. And as you mentioned, like social media has a big piece of that. Like really, what is my best life? My best life for me is just being stress-free, right? Loving my family, having that money to pay those bills, doing what I do.
And you're happy with lights off.
Absolutely. And I can attest to that. I can attest to that recently. They shut off my lights. And I was like,
I can attest to. I've been in the dark before.
I called teacher. I said, oh my gosh, I don't know what's going on. I said, I got like three candles lighted. You know what I mean? This has never happened to me before. I don't know what to do. But everybody. But I'm still going to say I'm living my best life because I'm living on my own. I'm doing my own. You know what I mean? Whether that's a little struggle or not.
But you learning that struggle, girl.
I learn on my own. And so, don't get discouraged. Living your best life is not what you think it is. It's not what you think it is. It's not what anybody else in this world thinks it is. It's how you feel stress-free, And so absolutely, continue to do what's going to benefit you and your loved ones if that's what concerns you. But man, it's a struggle. It's a struggle. And it is exhausting. And it is beautiful at the same time.
Well, it'll be worth it.
But it is worth it. Absolutely.
Bryce, come on, brother Muhammad.
Come on now.
And y'all, his real name is not Muhammad. This is Bryce Scott.
Yeah. Right. What I can say is that I've been in a situation where, my lights were turned off, but I went over to that good old stove and
I didn't have that. Mine wasn't gas. It was electric.
And I had the candles. I was walking through the house like Jesus. Go ahead.
You got a bright sunshine. Hey, Jesus. Come on, turn the lights on.
But what I can definitely say is that living your best life is definitely a process. It's something that you just have to walk in. You can't compare it to what you see, especially when it comes to your friends or associates or acquaintances. you have your own life journey, and that's the biggest thing that I've come to realize.
Amen. Amen.
You have your own life journey, and you can't compare your journey to someone else's, because where you're going is not where that other person is going.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
But see, and that's the thing though, you don't necessarily see the entire road that they've walked either.
Right.
Especially because we're all moving at different paces.
Right.
So I don't know how far down this road you started. Or it may be the fact that you may be 2 or 3 miles ahead of me.
Yeah.
Again, maybe somebody get and put you in that car and give you a ride.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
So I've been walking here my whole life. But yeah, I mean, so again, y'all, living your best life. Don't compare yourself to anybody else on social media.
Don't do it.
Don't do it, baby. I could just say, all you can do is continue to work on you, become better each day. You know, as long as you're living, you have a chance to do something different.
Every situation you're going to come out of. I promise you're going to come out of it.
You have to. One thing I would say, or another suggestion for me would be, is to explore.
Yes.
Try to dive in and find what it is you like. I know money may be limited, but time may be limited, but you find a way for things you really want.
Right. But you know what? I would add to that. I would say validate yourself. Don't look for other people to validate who you are, because when you get to the place to where you're looking for validation from other people, you'll always have a void.
Yeah.
Because people do it according to their own emotions in the moment, when they really may not even have the best interest for you.
All right.
Yeah, I can agree wholeheartedly with that. Yep.
Sure can. So thank you guys again for watching Diving In with Dionne. If you're asking who Dionne is, it's me. I'm Tasha. I'm Dionne. All right. And thank you, Patty, Mamacita, and Bryson Scott. Again, y'all, follow me on Instagram, Diving In with Dionne. Like and subscribe my YouTube channel, Diving In with Dionne. And if you want to cash out me,
This Patty Jimenez on Instagram.
It's Bryson, and that's at ITSBRICESIN on all social media.
and he is really putting it out there, so follow this man.
Yes.
Living my best life. Everyone back